Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy others and what they have. It might look like they have their lives sorted on social media, Instagram and whatnot, but in reality they don't. They're just like you. Therapy can help you focus on what you want and not what other people have. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IDK.
Stupid people, intelligent people, and the people in between. If the aliens come down, who should talk to them first? You might find out, and I don't know about that, with Jim Jeffries. So who should we send if the aliens come down in the big spaceships? Should we send our smartest and brightest, our in-betweenest, or our dumbest?
Send Austin Butler.
I think we send our dumbest. Just to see if they get like evaporated with a gun quickly. Just send a dummy up quickly. Hey there, Mr. Airplane Monster.
Well, they're already abducting those people.
Mr. Airplane Monster, who's come visit. I just want to.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
not friendly.
Next time we'll send a moderately intelligent person in a fireproof suit. We'll see how that works out, and then we'll build our way up to our most intelligent.
And they have to be different, varying degrees of good looking.
I would send whatever race looks the most like them first, so that they feel more familiar. Which I assume would be some type of silver. Have we got any silver short people already?
There's those guys in Times Square.
Yeah, we'll send one of those blokes who does the statues where he doesn't move. He'll be the first bloke.
I think the aliens will find that really interesting.
Yeah, but they're gonna keep talking to him, and he's just like,
whatever information they've been given to outer space about us will all be wrong if they see statue guy. And then we'll send the bloke who's sitting elevated, but he's holding a staff where there's clearly it's going down his cloak and there's a seat.
Yeah,
he always needs a rug underneath.
Yeah,
but it does look good.
The yogis, the fake yogis.
Yeah, the fake yogis sitting on a plate that goes down their arm.
This is coming out in middle of July, but I just did get because I still have it from the Jim Jeffries show. I just got a notification about something that happened that you sent me. With Jerry Seinfeld thing. That was fun.
You didn't know? Oh, Jerry Seinfeld mentioned me on stage.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Jerry Seinfeld knew who I was, so I was quite excited. I've been watching Jerry Seinfeld, the TV series, since I was a teenager. It was a big deal for me. So when Jerry Seinfeld in front of 20,000 Australians,
it's one of two shows that night.
Yeah, one of two shows. Because Seinfeld's huge in Australia. The TV show still played on network TV every day. And someone went in there and wanted to argue about what's going on in the Middle East. I'm not going to get involved in the conversation. And then he said, Jerry Seinfeld went, "Oh, great, you fixed the world. It's great." So it's spot on what I just did then. And then he went, "How about you go to a Jim Jeffries show and talk about the Aboriginals while he's performing in New York?"
Yeah.
Which is a good point.
Because he was.
Although, well, I guess it's ongoing what's happening with the Aboriginals, but the worst of it was 240 years ago. The worst of it.
Yeah, it's not as current.
It's not as current. we're having referendums on the Aboriginals on how much we say they should have in the government.
Yeah,
and what's going over there is different.
Did you reach out to Jerry?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. Well, speaking of Australia, you're going to be there.
I don't have Jerry's phone number, but if Jerry Seinfeld's listening to the podcast, which he might,
he definitely would.
We might have him on as a guest.
Yeah. What would he be an expert on?
Seinfeld.
The problems in the Middle East. Well, you see, there's Hamas, and there's no, but
that is funny that's the impression, even though he doesn't.
He only does that. He only hits those notes when he's
every once in a while.
He hits a peak.
Every now and again, he does. Oh no! He ever does it, but that's the stand impersonation, because the rest of him's not like that. No.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought it was cool that he knew who I was. And look, let's be honest. He could have gone Hannah Gatsby. Could have been his other option.
Yeah, I don't think that's knowing what Jerry said in the news media.
I don't think he's a Hannah Gadsby fan.
Yeah, I don't think he even thinks about it.
What are the other big Australian comics? I know we've talked about it before.
Oh, well, there's plenty that are big there. Dave Hughes is really big. Carl Barron,
international, I guess.
International stand-up.
Jim and Hannah, probably.
Me and Hannah Gadsby are the biggest. But now with streamers, it'll be a different experience. We'll see a lot more Australians come.
Cool.
Like breaking another country. Like when I
guess
broke
Ronnie Chang, right?
Ronnie Chang. So Ronnie Chang's arguably an Australian comic. He's bigger than me, Ronnie Chang. So Ronnie Chang,
you caught him because he started comedy in Australia, right?
I started comedy in Australia. Then he started comedy in Australia.
No, Rodney did. Yeah.
Rodney started. Ronnie's like one of Amos's best buds, and they started out together. But he has ties to the Australian comedy circuit. Yes, Ronnie Chang. Yeah,
he's very big.
Ronnie Chang.
Yeah, but you would be the still go-to for the Australian, because you're Australian.
Yeah,
your voice is Australian. So that's
Australian talkie.
I can do his voice as well, though, but frowned upon.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it.
Don't do it.
Ronnie Chang
Peace
as
of the Middle
Seinfeld.
East. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to do all my impersonations.
Don't do it. You're going to be in Australia August 1st through, or most of August. You're going to be touring to the 18th.
All but sold out, but there's been added shows.
Yeah.
Such places as Canberra.
Starting September 5th, the Charm Offensive Tour with
me and the car, man. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be something special.
All throughout Canada, there's dates in September and October. So go check out the Charm Offensive Tour. You can find these on Jim's website, jimjeffries.com. And then also in America, you will be touring as well. September 13th in St. Louis and September 14th in Atlanta. You will be with Mark Normand and Dan Soder in both those cities.
Triple headline show. Come and see us. If this works out, this is the ideas. Like, this is how you start, like the Blue Collar Tour and the Kings of Comedy tours and things like that. Go and see like these package things with different comics. Like, what the good thing about it is, if you're a fan of mine, you might become a fan of theirs, and if you're a fan of theirs, you might become a fan of mine. You never know.
All three different styles, all really funny.
When you see people live, they take on a different energy to when you've seen their specials. You might not know you like someone until you see them live.
It's true.
And then you've got other U.S. dates: Detroit, Milwaukee, Kalamazoo, Minneapolis, Tucson, Phoenix, Denver, etc.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
If you're here in California, July 30th.
Johnny Cash?
It's a great song. Oh, you're always tapping your foot when you hear it.
I do like that song.
I've been everywhere. I've been to Cincinnati, Kansas City.
See that one live, though. That one live is crazy.
I've been everywhere, man. I bet you haven't been to Tucson. I fucking have.
Name another place. Been there, too.
Name it. Been there.
Johnny Cash's crowd work in the middle of that song.
I can't wait to get a Johnny Cash expert on the show.
It's be so good.
It's gonna blow up.
I'll be someone who's full of shit.
We gotta get him in person.
But they won't know about it. You can still know about Johnny Cash.
Why? Why would you spend the time?
July 25th.
Unless you made the fucking movie.
We'll get Eugene back for it.
July 25th, I'll be at the Hollywood Improv for my Shawsome show. It's my monthly show. And then July 30th, Punchline in San Francisco. July 31st, the Punchline in Sacramento. So come out to one of those shows.
Woo,
and I'll be at
the
Comedy Nest in Montreal, August 22nd through 24th. And I have a huge tour in Florida, September and October.
August in Montreal.
Yeah, really.
Woo.
Lots of
French
women.
Ladies. Summer.
Poutine.
How do they keep their bodies so good with all the poutine? No one knows. It's a mystery.
I hike around in the summer.
Anyway.
Go to foreshaw.net. All my shows are on there, and check it out. And I got merch and stuff on there now too. So fun times. Jack, what do you got going on?
Go follow the Doohickeys everywhere on the internet. Raining on Cowboy is out. Go listen to it.
Raining on a Cowboy.
Raining on a Cowboy. Rain it in.
Not golden showers.
Not golden showers.
Golden Cowboy.
Yeah.
Like a golden cowboy.
Yeah. All right. Please welcome our guest, Kevin Rowland.
G'day, Kevin. Now it's time to play.
Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Judging a book by its cover.
All right, Kevin. Kevin's into heavy metal and chicks, man. Kevin's got the quintessential Farrah Fawcett poster, and he's covered the best bit with a guitar.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of that's a lot of, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who the girl next to it is, and it might be Shania Twain younger or something like that, or a very
Cheryl Teagues.
Cheryl Teagues. I thought it was a young Lisa Vanderpump there underneath there for a second. A Johnny Cash poster, which I'm always excited to see. Kiss. God, I disagree with a lot of your musical choices here, Kevin. Kiss are just makeup. They're fucking shit, Kiss.
You want me to move the guitar so you can see her 8 Smarties high nipples?
Yeah, I know. Well, no, I know that poster. Don't worry about that. That's the number one selling poster of the 1970s. I could do a whole podcast on that poster. That changed hairdos around the country. Kiss, it's just makeup. Everything's just, I want to rock all night. I've rocked tonight. I'm going to rock in the morning. Rock. Which AC/DC do better, but they fucking pump.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's.
That's true.
Okay, so let's go. So he likes chicks, guitars, and music. Kevin also is putting on the, I'm going to say Ritz under the t-shirt, or I don't know what.
It says putting on the foil.
Pimp it myself.
Putting on the foil. All right. Okay, that's a drug reference, is it?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe a hat, foil hat.
Oh, he could be a foil. He could be
maybe
a tin hat.
Maybe the greatest movie. Maybe the greatest movie of all time.
Slap
on the
shot
coach for every game. Slap shot.
All right. Are we doing ice hockey?
We're not. We already did that with Joe Bartnick.
I know that's true, but I thought
I just gave you a hint here with what this is.
We're doing record LPs.
That is a hint actually. That what he just showed.
It's not an LP.
It's not an LP.
A record.
No, it's a movie. Slapshot.
Slapshot. We're doing sports movies.
No.
The movies of sports.
Movies is a hint.
Movies.
What's that movie on?
Ice hockey.
No. What is
physically?
How would you watch that? What was
a laser disc.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're not doing laser discs, are we?
We're doing discontinued home media. VHS, Betamax, and Laserdisc.
Oh, yeah, I'm down for this.
Yeah,
I know all this. Yeah, I know
and there's one thing we forgot was the CED, but I got one of those too. We got to talk about that.
What is that?
The CED, that's what the RCA came out to compete with Laserdisc.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Basically, it looks like a vinyl. Comes out.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one. All right, let me introduce Kevin. Kevin Rowland, a.k.a. Trainwreck. Is a good time Charlie from Okotoks, Alberta, Canada, who collects and loves anything involving music and movies. Kevin opened a TV and stereo repair foil. Their 2 albums, Fired Up, Ready to Roll, and Sing-Along Drinking Songs, are available on all streaming sites and YouTube. You can go to www.puttingonthefoil.ca. So you owned a Radio Shack, but those all went under, right? Eventually.
Circuit City took them over up here in Canada, but now they're just called The Source, which is weird because that's the number one porn store called The Source here too. There was always confusion. I never understood that one.
The number one porn store, like you had several.
No, there was. Up in Calgary, every corner had a porn store, but it's crazy. And then we had less stripper joints. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
How do you say? Is it Okotoks? Is that where you're from?
It's Okotoks.
Okotoks, Alberta, Canada. All right.
It's just south of Calgary there in Alberta, and it's Okotoks stands for rock. I guess the Blackfoot. We got this big giant rock that's just outside Okotoks. That's the biggest erratic in the world. You can look it up. The big rock. And I guess
the biggest rock in the world. Bigger than Uluru. Couldn't be bigger than Uluru.
It's called erratic because it moved from the mountain up the Rocky Mountains, and it's the biggest erratic.
Oh, so like a boulder, like one that can actually move. That
a big boulder
isn't actually,
that moved.
Because
it's the biggest one in the world.
Uluru is connected to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Biggest loose rock.
Pretty neat to see, though. Like, I grew up all around it, so you can't take it for granted, but it's out there, and you drive by, you go,
kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
T-shirts incoming.
Quartz or something? I don't know.
All right.
Okotoks.
Well, since you're going to grade him on his accuracy 0 through 10, Jack's going to grade him on his confidence. I'm going to grade him on how hungry I am.
Every time these things came along, people went, we won't improve on this.
Yeah.
And then there was always one mate who stockpiled their house with them. Like, I've got every movie. If you want to pick a movie,
those are almost gone.
Well, you can get all of them online on Amazon or whatever. It's pointless.
21 through 30.
But it's pretty crazy how the collection. He's
a whole lot of sealed VHSs because he thought that was going to be the new vinyl, and now he's got ones that are going for like lots of money.
Oh, really?
He bought them all for $10 and stuff. And Pete Davidson had bought a whole lot of which if you got it like I do a little bit of sports collecting cards, and I do a little bit of this. Try to keep your collection small. Yeah. Video cassettes. They're large things.
If you score 21 through 30, you're the sidekick. Remember that thing?
No.
Little phone thing. 11 through 20, the fax machine. I don't even know how that's still around.
No, you still need fax machines every now and again.
Nah, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
You don't.
Yeah, you do. Every now and again, you need to fax a document.
For
what?
You have to
scan it. Send
you
it.
have to fax to doctors' offices or something.
Yeah, sometimes
I agree with you.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a contract that needs faxing or something. There's some things.
0 through 10, iron lung. All right.
Oh wow.
Definitely.
I wonder, did that work? The iron lung?
Yeah, it
worked.
did.
Yeah, it worked.
just help you breathe, did it?
Very bulky.
What was the idea behind the iron lung?
Was it now they put you on a respirator or something like that? But I think it was just to
make your lungs work.
Yeah.
It basically had pressure.
It was pressurized and it
was making you breathe. I forget what disease it was for. It was like tuberculosis or something.
It was one of those ones.
Tuberculosis. What was VHS?
Video.
What does it stand for? Is another question.
Video home cassette.
S.
Video home. I don't know. It's a tape.
Yeah.
That you can put into a video player, and they came in two sizes. VHS was the bigger one.
Yeah.
Beta.
We'll talk about Beta.
Beta was the smaller one.
Yeah.
We were a Beta family.
Really?
My mother went all in on Beta.
I didn't ever use.
So was my mom.
And held on to the bitter end. You'd go down to the video store. There'd be like 5 Beta videos, and Beta was meant to be better quality. And I believe Sony went all in on Beta. There was one company that went all in on Beta and
we'll get to Beta.
And it had the patent on Beta, and then VHS went, well, fuck it, we'll do these bigger cassettes, and then that was open to all players.
I think Sony keeps getting. Oh no! Sony ended up investing in Blu-ray, I think.
Well, we'll get to it. All right. So
Blu-ray's the best of them all.
Yeah.
So who and when was VHS invented? Who invented it and when?
Well, I would say that the VHS was invented in, when was it popularized versus when was it? I distinctly remember watching the original Star Wars on VHS and having all the kids from the street come over to the house, and we rented a video player to play the machine as well, like it was all going on.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, and I can remember
back in those days.
And I was born in 1977, so I can remember that. And so that would have been 1982 or something like that when that video came out in Australia. So it had to be invented before 1982. I'm going to say, see, invention versus when did it go on the market are two different things.
I'm saying when did it go on the market and when was the first VCR available? All that's the same.
I'm going to say it first went on the market in 1980. And that's when you first started having your VHS recordings. But it would have been invented in the 70s. Like, do you know, like, the first cell phone call was made in the early 70s?
Yeah.
Right? And it was a guy from Motorola. And you know who he rang? AT&T, because they had the monopoly on all those towers. And he rang the guy from AT&T to do, it was the first trolling, right? He rang him up to go, I'm out on the street with no wire, not in a car, because they had car phones already.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking to you from out in the street, right? And then someone was like, who is this? And he went, wrong number.
My battery's dying.
Yeah, so the first phone call from a cellular phone was a wrong number.
When I'm surprised we haven't done mobile phones yet. What did the first VCRs cost?
In today's money, or
back then? But it still was a lot.
I'm going to reference it back to so the first phones cost the equivalent of like 10 grand in today's money. So I'm going to say that it was a similar type of technology. I'm going to say it's a $15,000 purchase.
Really? First VCRs?
First VCRs.
$15K in then money or now money?
Now money.
Okay.
Then money, 5K.
Okay. When was the last VCR made?
Oh, probably this week sometime.
You think they start making them?
I still think that someone would have to make them.
I'm telling you they're not.
That's silly. Someone should get into that.
I think they figured out.
When was the last VCR made? I will say 2005.
How long could you record on a VHS?
Oh, depending on the size of the tape. But I remember 3-hour tapes.
Yeah, you know what they were called, the types of tapes?
There was a 90-minute tape, which was a very popular one. Nah, 90, 3 hours. I'll say 3 hours 30.
What was the first movie released on VHS, and what was the last one? First one's a tough one. I don't know if you know what. I don't know what this is.
I'm going to say Cum Sluts 3 was the first film. And Cum Sluts 14 was the last film.
Okay. What was the main advantage of...
You got to watch all of them. You'll never follow the story.
What was the main advantage of Betamax over VHS, and why did it ultimately fail in the market?
It was smaller, which is better because small is better because you have to store these things. But they believed that the picture quality was better on a Betamax video.
And then why did it fail? You were kind of talking about it.
It was failed because I believe Sony had all the rights to it, and so no one else could make any machines for it. It might have been another company, but I believe it was Sony. Had all the rights, and so no one else could make any of the machines. So all the other companies went, well, we'll just do this bigger size. And then everyone had bought those machines at a more reasonable price. And I think Sony even started making VHS machines as well. So it sort of went out of fashion.
Okay, that next one is kind of what we were talking about already. And then when did Betamax start, and when did it end, and what did a Betamax cost?
I believe Betamax was before VHS, so I'm going to say that Betamax happened 1977 was the first machine you could buy, and that would have been like, you know, people using it for fucking instructional science and shit like that. But people having them in their homes, 1980. I believe that Betamax went all the way up until the last one would have been made in 1990.
Okay. Why is it called Betamax?
Beta testing is when you test something to see if it's going to be good for the masses, and it was tested by a guy called Max.
What role did Betamax play in the development of the camcorder, and why did their version fail?
Betamax probably had a camcorder where you could put beta cassettes into the side of the video player, and you could put it straight in and record it, because the other ones were little tiny discs that you had to like transport or plug the machine into your TV. And they would have had one that had the full video that went in there, but it failed for the same reason it did, because people weren't using beta.
Okay. What is the Betamax case, legal case, and why is it significant in legal history?
It's a plastic type of thing.
No, legal case.
A real good. Oh, okay. Well, it's a leather pouch. The legal case was they believed that VHS were copying what they were doing, and they had the proprietary technology. And then the courts probably went, nah, you can't have monopoly on information.
Okay. How did Sony's commitment to Betamax impact their business strategy? You kind of already talked on that. What was Laserdisc?
Laserdisc was a large version, like a DVD, that was the size of an LP, which was a great big disc, and it could be played on both sides.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's the best quality original Star Wars you can get before they add in all the bullshit and all that type of stuff. If you want to have all the original crap without Lucas pissing all over the film, that is the Laserdisc.
How much time is on each side?
Like, I'd say 90 minutes and a half.
Okay. And then what was it? Oh,
it was very popular. Laserdisc became very popular in the classical music genre. I knew a man who he had all the operas from all the different companies around the world, and for sound quality and for whatever, but he had them all on Laserdisc. And I since found out that if you go into the classical world, they're still very Laserdisc prone.
What was the first year released and the last? And do you know the movies too? The first and the last on Laserdisc?
The first one was Die Hard. The last one was Die Hard 5.
Yep.
And I said the last one was Romance in the Stone. Jewel of the Nile.
Jewel of the Nile. Do you know the company responsible for Laserdisc?
Capitol Records.
That's interesting, the last part of that. And it never caught on, because why?
Because they're fucking too big, man. And because and they were very expensive, and the machine just sort of, and it was sort of like, I remember when you were seeing them at people's houses, you were like, fuck, this is something else.
Yeah.
But then DVDs came along so quickly, and obviously as soon as you saw a DVD, you go, DVDs, that's the way of the future, except for the company of Blockbuster, which thought that DVDs weren't the way of the future.
Yeah, VHS.
And they stayed with VHS. And then when Netflix came along, they had the opportunity to purchase Netflix for a mere $50 million.
Yeah.
This isn't long ago. This is in
that was when Netflix was just a
This is in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
This is so he was just sending out the discs, right, like that. And Netflix was the first thing to have a subscription.
Yeah,
we had like memberships at gyms, but to have
it was Redbox and stuff you could do. That was like you go to the store, the convenience store.
And because the problem with Blockbuster was the late fees. You fucking don't return in time. So what the Netflix did was they got rid of late fees, and they said you can have 4 discs at a time or whatever plan you signed up for. If you have a disc, you can't get another disc until you return a disc, and then they back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so then Blockbuster did this thing. They went, no more late fees, right? Because they're trying to compete. Well, they didn't have the subscription, so people just weren't returning videos, and the late fees were like 50% of all the Blockbuster's income.
That and the popcorn.
And so that's what killed them. If they bought Netflix, they made in the shade. But then they might have not had the innovation of streaming TV shows like they did.
I did enjoy going to the store and picking out a movie, though. It was fun. It was like a fun process, like walking through. And
I remember renting a PlayStation 1.
Yeah, you could rent that.
Rent the actual machine.
I rented a Nintendo 64 because we didn't have one.
And got a couple of discs and like a couple of games, and that's I've got my weekend.
Yeah.
Hello there, I want to talk to you about BetterHelp. I'm a big fan of therapy, always have been. I've always found it to be a helpful thing in my life, not a hindrance. What have you got to lose? Look, comparison is a thief of joy, and it's easy to envy others and what they have. It might look like they have their lives together on social media, but in reality they don't. They're just like you. Therapy can help you focus on what you want and not what other people have. Stop comparing and start focusing on you. Visit betterhelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/IDK. As I said, I've been a big fan of therapy. Often I was a bit tentative on going because what if I don't like the therapist? Well, this is where BetterHelp helps. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. It's that easy. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IDK.
Last question. Which major film director is known for releasing special editions of his film on Laserdisc?
George Lucas.
Yeah, you already said. All right. Hey, Kevin, how did Jim do in his knowledge of VHS, Betamax, and Laserdisc? 0 through 10.
It was good. It was exciting. I was impressed.
10's
I knew you were awesome.
What number are you giving him? 0 through 10?
Oh, I'm going to give him 9.
Yeah, I know shit about shit.
Confidence check.
Pointless shit is my bitch.
That was 10 material.
That's the story of my life is pointless shit.
19. I'm pretty hungry. So 5. -5.
So we didn't even get into Blu-rays.
We can talk about everything.
The problem is we really...
Blu-rays are still going though.
The utopia of entertainment was really when the DVDs came out. You go to HMV... I was living in London at the time.
What's HMV?
His Master's Voice is what it stands for. The fact that I just recalled that. And so his Master's Voice, and it's got a picture of a dog sitting next to a gramophone. And it was the biggest...
Is that just a record store?
It was not just a record. It was a huge record store across Britain. Them and Virgin Records. There was 2 competing when I was living in the early 2000s.
It's like a tower.
Bigger than tower, yeah, like 5-story buildings in London where you're going up the escalators and there's records, and then they, like, DVDs started to get affordable where you get like 3 DVDs for £20, right? You go through the bins and go, oh, I want to have that movie, I want to have this movie, you know. And I remember, because I was living in Britain at the time, having a huge DVD collection, thinking, I remember getting all the superhero ones because there wasn't that many superhero films. I was like, if anyone wants to come to my house and see superheroes, I've got them all. Now I don't even see, like, a new Superman's coming out who's my favourite, and I might not see it. You know what I mean? I haven't seen the last couple of Avengers. I just don't give a fuck anymore.
It got oversaturated.
Yeah. Well, you get older. Who gives a shit anymore?
Yeah.
All right, so Kevin, I asked you.
I remember the DVD player when it first came out. I think I bought the first model from Hitachi, Toshiba, and it was $1,500. My wife thought I was an idiot.
Yeah, but it was still a winner of a machine, though. Like I was selling mobile phones. So we're talking 1999, maybe 2000. I'm selling mobile phones, and in the store we had like a promotion that if you bought a mobile phone, we also would give you a DVD player, and people were coming in to actually look at the player being used. Like, wow, it does look
amazing. I think the first one I bought was Austin Powers. That one came out, but problem with the first machines that they weren't made to deal with the dual layers.
Yeah.
So what happened with I started buying the DVDs that have more, dual layers for bonus features. That original player wouldn't play them.
Well, okay. Well, so that was how fast the technology. Because by the time I left,
it was like that.
By the time I left that job, it went to Blu-ray. And I left that job like a year later, and by then we had DVD players in cars.
And there was another DVD that got that Blu-ray outcompeted. That's
HD DVD.
HD DVD, right?
I'll tell you what bit of technology never sold. And I had them in the store. We had about 5 of them in the back of the store ready to go. And we had these things. We had a whole set up, like a whole display where I could press it and it would do things. It was the first navigation systems, right? Before TomTom and all that type of stuff, right? Before Garmin or whatever. It was some company. And it was like a big box that you put in the trunk of your car, and you had to put the maps in by disc, and it would tell you go left, go right, go straight ahead, and all this type of stuff. And people would come in, and you'd press the thing, and it would say go left, go right, and you could see a little screen where it was doing like this. And then people were going, "Does it really work?" And I remember saying to someone, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it.
That's why you didn't sell it.
Yeah, they were like $5,000 or something. They were like a lot of money, and I hadn't seen one put into a car. No one bought one of the fucking things, and it felt so fucking space aged.
But even that, they went so far ahead too. Like you had that, then Garmin, then they were in the car, and now it's just your phone attached to the car.
Within 4 years, I had one like that I bought for £100. No, about £300. It stuck to my window, and then they were £99 by the time I left England. And now it's every fucking car just has one. Now your phone does it.
Just your phone, yeah. All right, so VHS. What does VHS stand for, and then what is a VHS tape, Kevin?
Well, Video Home System is what it stood for. VHS, and it's just a Marlaw magnetic tape, 2 spools. It was a consumer level. It was invented for recording, right? People wanted to record at home.
And now, my parents pirated some TV, right? Now,
that was the whole point of it.
So we had to. We got a video player. My mother, we were poor, right? We had no money. You've seen where I grew up, right? We weren't rolling in money. We had no money. But my mother loved new technology. She was an early adopter.
Yeah.
Right? And she didn't know how to use anything. But we had a fax machine and things like this. My mother was on board, right? So we had a video player, and then another person down the road had a video player, and you used to have to stack the 2 video players on top of each other and put one video and one video here and have another cords. And it looked like it was super technology, but right now it's probably just one cord to one cord.
Like Star Trek or something.
Right? Yeah. And then you pressed recording a thing like this, right? And then the whole came down, warning, if you do this, you'll go to prison, right? Yeah. And I'm a little kid, and I went, Mum, when we go to prison? Oh, it's going to be scary. And my mother kept a magnet inside the video cabinet. If the cops ever come, my job...
Was to scramble it?
Yeah, my job was to go up to the Star Wars tape and go like that.
It's like you're flushing drugs.
Yeah. We had like 5. We had about maybe 10 stolen movies. You know what I mean? That we'd gotten.
What kind of magnet did she keep? It was just like.
It was like one of those. It was like a cliche ass magnet.
Like the big horseshoe one.
It was a horseshoe one that was red with black tips on it. You know the ones that you hold like that with your hand, a horseshoe magnet.
You had to keep it close enough to the tape so you could use it, but far enough away that it didn't damage them.
You had to get right in there and swipe. Now, if you had a video player, you could pull the lugs out. Do you call it lugs here in America or Canada?
The plastic. What are they called?
We call
the lugs.
The lugs.
The plastic flaps. Those recording.
Oh yes, we did. Yes.
Okay, so if you snap a lug out, right?
Yeah.
You can't record on it because the record.
You put tape on it.
You can't tape.
That was more the cassettes.
Right, the lug pressed like that on a VHS.
Right.
The machine pressed in, and if it didn't go all the way in, it went, oh, I can record. If you pull the lugs out, it went, oh, I can't record. Yeah. That was its safety measure, right? So that's what the ones you got from Blockbuster had the lugs taken out, and the home video, if you really liked it, you could put a knife in, you could snap out the lugs so you can never record it. The most coveted thing in the house was, for my mother, was the Princess Diana wedding. Right up until after she died. My mother would watch this wedding after they'd gotten divorced for years later. This woman's already thrown herself downstairs, been bulimic from the marriage, had a horrible time, died in a car accident in France, and my mother would be sitting at home going, oh, the people's princess. But like so if you wanted to really stir my mother up, and like you'd go like this, you'd come home, you'd be holding the tape like this. Mum, I've made a mistake here. I don't know what I've done, but I've recorded over the royal wedding. What? Because there was no one was selling the royal wedding. You couldn't buy it.
No.
Right? This is the only copy in her mind in existence. There was no eBay to find another one. This is like saying I've killed a child in the pool in the backyard. Right? This is this level of what I've said to my mother. And so you go, Mum, I think I've recorded over the royal wedding. Which one? Yeah, I'd like to say it was Fergie and Andrew, but it's Chuck and Die, right? I've recorded over Chuck and Die. And then the next sentence would come out, but I pulled the lugs out. I think Scott put some sticky tape over, because you could put sticky tape over the lugs.
Yeah.
Over the hole, you could put sticky tape, so you could go there. Now, I remember the video store, so Blockbuster, we had Video Easy. Blockbuster came later on in the store, right? So we'd rented some videos of some stoned teenagers, like you do. Like, was there a job on earth that was more coveted than the video store job? Like it had to be handed down to you by an older brother or something like that. You couldn't just walk in there with an application. There was a 20-year waiting list to be a video store, because you just go to sit. You get to sit there and you can watch movies all day. And I had a cousin, Mark, who worked at a video store, and he got videos before, but it had the time bit on the bottom. I saw Pet Sematary a week before everybody. Anyway, So one day they had these videos. We rented these two videos, and we crack open one, and we'll watch this film, and then we cracked open the other one, and it said the name of the other movie and thing, but there was a porno in the thing. Now, whether by design or by accident, one of the young employees put a porno in our copy of Labyrinth, right?
Uh-oh.
Right, yeah, uh-oh indeed. Now, I know I'm not allowed to watch the porno, plus I don't get to see Labyrinth. Right? Plus I'm a kid, so I don't quite, it's not like today's kids where they can Google. I don't quite know what porn is.
Yeah.
I'm about 5 or 6. They said my parents said it was an adult movie. And then I remember them saying to me, I said, well, what makes it adult? Everyone's naked in it.
Yeah.
Right? And so I imagined it was just a regular film, but everyone was walking around naked. Like it was just Indiana Jones, but naked.
That's just what rated R means, yeah.
Yeah, rated R. I used to remember when I went past books that said adult bookshop, I just assumed that was a book with no pictures. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. But I thought it'd be a book with no pictures, loads of long words. That's what your adult bookstore is. Right, whenever
and everyone's
in
naked.
Neon, and then XXX, I'm like that. I don't even know what that word is. Anyway, so it's a silent. It's like xylophone. Anyway, so my dad, there's the copy. There was this porno. It was in the house. Every you know how small the house I grew up in, right? It was a very small house, right? So we got to return that back and go get Labyrinth, Dad.
Yeah.
And Dad's like this. Oh, we don't have to you can have Labyrinth tomorrow.
Go play outside for a couple hours.
And I'm told to stay in the other end of the house. Right? It's one of my earliest memories. I'm told to stay in the other end of the house. Dad's he's fallen on a piece of gold that's just landed in his lap. Right? So, anyway, as I told you,
this was the problem with VHS, too. You couldn't just sneak in your bedroom with it.
We had one video player at this stage. Dad needed a second video player because this was, he wasn't letting go of this. So, Mum had to call up the family down the road, the Hardings, I believe. And they had to... It was a whole operation. Oh, there's another movie we need to record, right?
Yeah.
Now, since later on in life, my father has told me about my mother and father's sex life being very active. Overly active, right? And probably because he didn't have a lot of porn. This is what kept the magic alive. If we had more Labyrinth mistakes, he would have never fucked Mum. But so another family had to bring up a video player so that my dad could pirate porn. Now, he didn't know, so my mother would have had to wire that up. She was the one who knew a little bit about the wiring. Anyway, that's...
Team effort.
I'm just saying, I know a lot about Betamax.
Yeah. Okay.
I always remember this one story. I don't know if I found a Betamax under my brother's mattress, and it was a deep inside Annie Sprinkle, and I remember that was the first time I seen porn, and I remember... you do whatever you do, you abuse yourself. But I had to make sure I rewound it back to the same spot, or else then he'd catch me all the time. You've been watching that?
Oh yeah, that was the genius move. You had to have it at a certain spot.
Yeah.
But then there's another one for you. So I knew where Dad kept this videotape, and then you'd put the tape in, and you'd watch it, and then I remember thinking, oh, this is where Dad finished.
Oh, God.
Because he didn't put it to an exact spot. He just stopped it when he was done.
Yeah, a little cleanup. Stop. All right.
We grew up we had a tree farm, and I remember when I found that tape, I was taking it all the time, and I just, those back in those days where you could go one after the other, boom, 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 right?
Yeah. There was a woman who was in it who was an older lady, and then there was a girl in her early 20s, and there was already a stepmom, and she said, "You have a great body," and I remember thinking, "Oh, this seems a bit weird." These two.
I have a feeling we'll get back to porn again at some point in this conversation. Who and when was the VHS, or who invented the VHS, and when was it invented, and the VCR?
I bought VHS porn on catalogs, and
you were saying 1980 is what you said in Australia, so you said the 70s, but what is the answer, Kevin?
77. Well, I mean, 76 is when Beta first came out.
Yeah.
And 77 was VHS.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was right. He was right with the Beta was first. And then they came up with it, and then that was the big thing. And then it was JVC, Japan Video Company, is the one that invented it.
Yeah.
JVC was the brand, not Sony.
Yeah, the big JVC was the one that did VHS, but then Sony did Betamax.
We used to have a player where you put the disc in like a big thing went kunk out the top.
Yeah.
You put the disc in,
made all sorts of sounds.
Put it kunk down like that, and then it had big like cassette buttons. You know those ones that like paddles that you have to push the paddle down.
You had to put significant pressure on the buttons.
Ah, yes. A 3-year-old couldn't play one.
Yeah. And then
my 3-year-old now, who is a little late on his talking. Like, he's talking fine, but he's not like a whiz at it, but he's talking fine. Understands everything he's saying, and he understands everything in English and in Spanish because he's got a Spanish-speaking nanny. But that prick can he can turn on the TV, get to Disney Plus, and get to the programming he wants.
Yeah.
Probably faster than we can.
Yeah, he's just like, I see him with the remote. And he makes this noise.
So it's JVC in 1976.
I'm like, why don't you have more words if you can do that?
Yeah. They said that the first VCR was in Japan in 76, and then it was 77 was North America.
And what did they cost? Jim said $15K, and now money $5K back then is what he's saying.
No, I remember when Mom bought the Beta, it was about $2,500, and I know VHS though. I mean, when they came, they were around $1,000, $1,200.
That still was a lot back then. That would have been
more. That's a lot.
Someone Google for me right now how much a VHS player cost in Australia in 1980. I'm going to say it's 5,000 Australian. I think I was right on some level there.
I guess they would have to get down there, right? So whenever how the manufacturers working, it might be.
And it may not. We may not have gotten them till the 80s. Where there was a lot of things that we got just a couple of years later.
This says, by the way, that $1,400 in 1977 in the United States would be equivalent to $7,200 today. Okay. So it's still very expensive.
But I was buying top end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just remember Beta was $2,500. I remember my dad was like giving my mom shit for that. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so that would have been
like we live on a farm. There's work to be done. We don't need to be watching these movies. But then, like your dad, he started enjoying it, right?
Yeah. My dad. I remember timing video cassettes to record TV shows. My brother used.
It was amazing.
My brother used to record while we were at school, like things like Jerry Springer and stuff like that. And you'd come home, good, we get to watch people kick the shit out of each other. Good work. But I remember also something like I got really into pandas at like 8 or something. I liked pandas, you know. Okay. I went through a panda phase. There was 2 pandas came out to the Sydney Zoo. And I remember being like this. And I remember like on the news, they were like, tomorrow night on the news, we're going to have footage of a panda birth, which is so rare, a panda birth in the wild, right? Oh, right. We went out to dinner, and I'm sitting there like this. No, I didn't set the timer on the video. I still remember this panic, and I remember like I was 8. I probably cried. I went like this. I'll never get to see that. I'll never get to see that. Imagine a world where if you didn't see the panda birth,
that's it.
And as an adult, I still am yet to Google it. I've still never seen one. I haven't missed out.
It might be kind of exactly what you're picturing.
I had a friend. I'm still friends with him, and if he's listening to the podcast, this was fucking weird, mate. This was. Came over to the house, right, with their baby. Their baby was a couple of months old. Like, it was the first time we'd seen the baby, and he proceeded to put the birth on our TV, to start to mirror it up on our screen, to put the birth up on our TV, and she's sitting there with the baby, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this.
So she was there, and then
she was there. They all thought
vagina getting ripped apart.
I have a lot of theory. I have a lot of theory on parents. And we all know. Okay, and I'm not going to name names, right? But we all know the famous person or the friend of ours who has had a baby, and then they put too much baby up on the gram.
Yeah,
right. Too much baby on the gram. Thinking, because you got to understand that to them it is the greatest, biggest thing that's ever happened in their entire life. This is of epic proportions, and they've forgotten that it's not the same experience for everyone else, and also that the whole world is we're 7 billion of us. We've all done it.
Yeah,
we've all done it. But I'm a big fan of kids, so I have no problem with it. But it's anyway.
All right, last VCR was made in what year? Jim says 2005.
No, it was 2016. They were doing combos still.
Oh, they were doing
we're doing TV combos.
2-in-1s.
They were still
2-in-1s. You get your DVD here. You get your video cassette here. That one.
Yeah.
So that's pretty recent.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty recent. Well, I just looked up too. Your Australia 1980s when the first VCR got there.
1980. Boom shakalaka.
Yeah, right.
And I know it was 1981 when I watched Star Wars, and that was like one of the few things. And there wasn't a video.
But I looked that up. That was 82. 82 is when Star Wars first came on VHS.
That I was 5 years old. But that's because kids from the street, we were going to see Star Wars at home.
Yeah.
And there was this video store that had 3 of them. It wasn't a video store, it was like a pharmacy that just had a rack in the corner.
And how long could you record on them, Kevin, a VHS tape?
Well, that with the VHS, you can get up to 4 hours on standard play, which is SP. But then, like, if you go SLP, which is the longest one, you can get 12 hours. Then there was also EP, which would be around 6-7 hours. So that was the benefit to VHS.
I've just watched a documentary on the guy who invented cassettes, right? Yeah. And the guy who invented cassettes, because 8-track had already come out, and 8-track had very good quality and all that type of stuff, and it was a thicker tape.
Yeah,
and all that type of stuff.
I remember those. Yeah.
And then cassette was.
Did 8-track mean there were 8 different tracks to each song, or it could only hold 8 songs?
No, I don't know.
It could hold more than 8 songs.
4 tracks on each side of the tape.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was?
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See, I thought it was
4 on one side and 4 on the other.
And so
it was a big fat.
It was a big fat thing, but the sound quality was meant to be quite good. And then the guy who had cassettes. He'd been recording voice. He had big dictaphones with big spoils like that, right? And you have to feed them in. And then he was like, all right, this is good, this is good. Now, the advantage of cassette over 8-track was the cassette could record. Right, so the cassette you could, and there's still lugs in the
mixtapes.
You make mixtapes. You listen to the radio. You record. You go from tape to tape. Whenever I bought an LP, I always recorded it straight onto cassette because there was a theory that the first listening of an LP was the best quality you'll ever get out of the record. So when I would record all my LPs onto cassette, so I could listen to them.
I used to listen to radio, just random radio, waiting for a song to be played so that I could record it. So at the end of each song, I would go back to the cassette and I'd be like, is this it?
You'd be waiting there.
Yeah, like, no, and I'd stop, and then I'd go back, and I'd read.
That's why it was good to listen to the top 100. When they did the top 100 every weekend with Casey Kasem or whatever, but you would know. With other ones, you could wait the rotation. You go, it's going to be in the top 10. This song I want to listen to.
Yeah,
you could be ready to go. And you make a mixtape.
And you'd have a double cassette deck, and you'd make the mixtapes.
It was the biggest way of showing love to a girl, right?
Oh yeah, you made her a mixtape.
Now,
you don't know anything about this.
So this,
no, not really.
This guy would make he made the cassettes, right? He made cassettes. He gave the technology to the world, just like, you can all have it. Same as the bloke who did the internet. You can all have it, right? It's not going to be one company or whatever. But he's the same cunt who invented the DVD.
Really?
This guy's good.
Yeah. Like he built the technology to ruin his technology. Not the DVD.
CD?
No, the CD.
CD, yeah.
Yeah, he invented the CD, which without the CD, you don't get the DVD, or you don't get the...
Anyway, and no one uses CDs anymore. Do you use a CD?
No, they do.
I actually still have CDs.
Yeah, I don't mind.
We have to
listen to them all the time.
We have to get CDs printed for our album because people are still buying them.
Really?
Yeah, I don't mind a CD. A CD was really the best physical copy of...
It wasn't the good Walkman, though. The cassette Walkman was superior to the CD Walkman because you had to like keep it still.
Well, the CDs jumped and jumped, right? But the cassette Walkman was the first time people could listen to music while they exercised.
Yeah. What was the first?
And I'm including at home because the fucking record players used to bounce all the time.
Did you use VHS tapes?
Yeah.
Okay. I
actually cut my wrist on a VHS case, and I had to go to the hospital to get stitches. It was really bad. So.
Embarrassing too.
Embarrassing, yeah. I was 3.
What movie?
Probably like The Lion King or something.
My son's mad for The Lion King. The classic films.
Lion King's good, man.
What was the first movie released on VHS, and what was the last? Jim said Cum Sluts 3 and Cum Sluts 14.
Oh, I might be up by one.
Young. I looked that up. It was Young Teacher. It's called The Young Teacher. It was
South Korean drama.
They're the first ones that came out.
Sounds like a porno.
Sounds like a porno.
It does sound like a porno, doesn't it? And then I know The History of Violence was the last one.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
2006.
Viggo Mortensen. I like that movie. That was all right.
That was good.
2006 was, but they still made him until 2006.
I was gonna say something about the VHS. Well, doesn't matter. They'll come up later.
You can say it. Go ahead. You jump ahead.
I was just thinking about accidents. Like when my sister, not even an accident, my sister, she didn't really get the VHS when it came out. And I remember she had the whole plastic case. You know, the plastic case the tape came in. And then I go put the movie in, and she just goes and she's trying to put the whole case into the machine.
Yeah.
We're like, what are you doing?
Well, she's just Canadian, mate. Just don't be so mean.
I don't know. Well, I just remember like the whole thing about like when Jim was talking like when you're young, it was just the most exciting time was when your mom and dad or something rented it was your birthday party and you get your friends over and you go rent First Blood or something exciting or Road Warrior on VHS and you rent the movie. Those exciting times. Yeah. There's not that kind of excitement anymore.
No, they don't. The attention spans aren't as big. See, my son said to me the other day, he said, he was talking about the new Mad Max, and I said, we can't see the Mad Max, it's rated R. I said, I'll tell you what we'll do, because they're all sitting on, I believe they're on the Max, the HBO app. And I said, all right, I'll just show you the car chase in Road Warrior, right? Which is like
the original one, yeah.
The second film.
Yeah.
I call it Mad Max 2. You guys call it the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
And in Mad Max 2, the car chase, right? And he was like, it's pretty good. I'm like, pretty good? These are all real stunts. There's no CGI. Yeah. There's a couple of stuntmen that you see in the Mad Max movies who are in wheelchairs, and you get to see the stunt that did it.
Yeah.
This is how, like, they fucking went for it, man.
Yeah. He could probably watch Fury Road, though.
Yeah, but he wasn't impressed by it?
Fury Road's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mad Max movies. I like Mad Max movies. I haven't seen the new one though.
I haven't seen it either. But Fury Road, I think is.
I don't like the bit where she goes, "I'm Furiosa" in the advert. I'm like, fuck off, Queen's Gambit. Don't scream at me.
Go play chess. What was? Oh, I haven't seen that show either.
Oh, get back in the chess.
What was the main advantage of Betamax over VHS, and why did it ultimately fail in the market? Jim said smaller.
Well, I think Jim was right with the tape smaller. Everything's better smaller.
Keep telling yourself
better picture. Or he had the better picture, but ultimately it was just too much money. Like people didn't want to pay that $2,500 for a machine.
Yeah.
I don't remember. They say it was better. It wasn't like it was substantially better. It was
just a better. You had better. Your better resolution. But supposedly VHS had better audio. So I remember buddies would record their record on the VHS tapes and then put it in the VHS and have it plugged through your stereo because supposedly it had better audio.
So okay, so right now is streaming something on Netflix. I felt like Blu-ray was like so clear. It was like eerie, and it did have a blue tinge to it.
It did not have a blue tinge.
It didn't. It felt like it had like a filter of something.
Definitely would not have.
It felt like it.
Okay.
Don't you feel like it had like?
No, not at all.
Oh, I feel like if you get me a DVD and a Blu-ray, and you put them on, I'll be able to tell you which one's which.
Well, yeah, one's significantly sharper than the other one.
Better resolution, like you'll be sharper. Yeah.
Check if
the audio.
Check if there's a blue.
The reason I still prefer Blu-ray is just because, depending on your internet bandwidth at the time of the day, it might look like shit on Netflix. So the Blu-rays are always good.
And why did?
I was gonna say some more stuff though. What it was like. Jim was right too. Where Beta didn't want to license out. They didn't have the free licensing, so they didn't want to license out because they thought they had the ultimate product, right? So, and they were trying to just be the only media. But then VHS was smart, JVC was smart. They licensed it out to Hitachi, Toshiba, everybody, so they could make their own machines, and there was no license fee. And that's what it did. It flooded the market with VHS and all these machines.
And what did you tell me about porn too? There was something I don't remember now in our email.
Well, I remember watching. Have you seen Boogie Nights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when Burt Reynolds is pissed off because he loves his films and he's an artist and he's a director, and then they started saying, well, let's go put stuff on video because it's cheaper and we can get our movies out more because of the whole home viewing thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it was, but I guess like they were waiting. I was explaining before, they were just waiting to see who was going to be better, Beta or VHS, but ultimately VHS won. But they still recorded like with video because Beta. The camera we'll talk about, like the Beta, like that was what they used in the newscasting in the 60s and all that stuff. That Beta, the Beta cam, that tape, there's a big tape they used for broadcasting. And then, they're still filming the Beta because it was a better picture, but they still ultimately recorded everything on the VHS to sell it.
Hold on, Blu-ray.
There's a blue tint on the back.
Now Blu-ray, who knows how vivid it is on there, right?
On the back of it. That's what it says. If you look at the back of the disc, it was blue-ish. That's all I found.
It is, yeah. It was sort of.
Yeah, Jim's convinced that it was blue. The picture was.
No,
blue,
it's all ones and zeros. It's reading.
Yeah.
And another big one was the less recording time, right? We talked about that. Like Beta had less recording time, so at home you didn't have enough recording time. So VHS had up to 4 hours, up to 12 hours, and then Beta came up with Beta 2 and Beta 3, so they could get up to 5 hours, but that's as far as you could go. And then the tape by itself was an hour and 40 minutes is all you could record.
And then the camera, so the Betamax development of the camcorder, what was their role in it? And then as well.
Well, see, I'm not too sure on that one because I just know that they did have the technology before anybody. Like I said, they were using it in broadcasting, and I didn't realize it was back in the 60s they came up with it. But that was that bigger. It's called a U-matic, whatever, and all the TV stations had those big tapes. I don't know if you remember seeing those. And that was Beta. Made by Sony. And what happened with Beta though? They would come out. They had the first camcorder coming out, but the problem was it was like you have to take it out and put it in your machine. Right,
to view it,
the tape in, it records, and there was no way to rewind it and look at it and watch it on the camera. And that's what VHS came out after with that.
That might have been why porn chose it as well, so you could watch.
I had a video camera that had like little tiny cassettes like that you put in, right, little cassettes like that, and then I recorded
VHS-C. Yeah, the little one to fit into it. And did they fit into a VHS tape?
Yeah, and then you could put them into a bigger VHS tape. Yeah, I had those.
So that they gave the same quality. It was just still only 30 minutes, but you could put them into. You could take it out. That's what the first camera came, VHC. Then you could put in the little cassette, looked like a VHS, and you put it into your machine and watch it.
Well, if anyone, there was a storage room where I had a box of them and loads of home porn.
Yeah.
And
you mean home porn? Your home porn?
Yeah, home porn. Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like
this is like back in my early 20s, like me and the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right. And
you ever film yourself?
People do it all the time now. Why is this such a? Why are you all looking at me like I'm a pervert? Pete, how many?
I know I'm with you.
First of all, I thought you were talking about when you were a child still. So
no. In my 20s.
Okay, yeah.
Living in England.
Yeah.
And so I had a little bit of that. And I had a little bit of, and I had all my early stand-up routines. So there's a box somewhere that was thrown into a dumpster with so much fucking early footage of my stand-up career and me fucking.
Would you watch back the stuff?
Did you ever film yourself jerking off so you can watch yourself jerk off so you can jerk off?
No, I watched it so I could put it in rewind and watch the cum go back in. What are you talking about? Watch myself.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Kevin?
Jesus, hell, Kevin. Fucking hell, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
Wait. Are you trying to work on your technique? I don't understand what you're doing.
No, I'm just saying I have filmed myself jerking off just so I can watch myself jerk off, get horny, and watch myself jerk off. I don't know.
Who's getting horny watching you jerk off? Especially you. Fucking hell, talk about old technology.
I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. I can we transfer you guys some we want to.
No. We're good.
Mine wasn't loads. It was like 4 or 5 tapes. I was experiencing loads, but people now send. I haven't got a dick pic that has been sent out by me since the early camera phones. Right?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Very pixelated.
I haven't sent it. There has not been a dick pic of me since 2007.
It's like an 8.
Congratulations!
Right? It was just on the Nokia, on the phone, the little tiny one. It was the one photo I always. Because let's be honest, what dick pics are. Dick pics. No one wants a dick pic.
Right.
No one wants them. Women just want them. It's an arms race. Right?
It's insurance.
Yes. They send you a naked picture. Can I have a dick pic? We both have bits of the things that other people don't want to see.
Mutual destruction.
We're Russia and America right now. You've built a bomb. I've built a bomb, and that's how we're going to have peace. So I knew to get what I want from other pictures, I used to have a dick pic ready to go. So, but I haven't sent a dick pic out since about 2008 would have been my last dick pic.
You'd have to take a new one,
and that was some early ass camera phones.
Yeah.
They picked no videos.
So your dick would have been at its peak.
Ah!
It's getting.
It was.
The older you get,
I remember the picture. It was a stunner.
Get ready, Jack.
It was.
It's going to change color, shape.
Is it going to look like the olive photo?
Yeah, it had an olive and a chip on
it. When you get your dick out there.
That's what my dick looks like, a French fry with an olive head on the
end. So you already said it was the first Betamax. It was 1975 combo, 19-inch TV, $2,500, and 2002 was the last one. Why was it called Betamax?
That was a weird one because I guess it's beta is the Greek words. I wrote this down. The Greek letter beta resembles a tape going through transport. I was looking. I don't. Does that?
Oh,
what that
the way
like?
it was in there. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Some Greek name, and then Max, and the Max is supposed to be Maxim, which means great.
Ah.
And then the legal case, Betamax went to court. Then it was a significant
because they came out first, and I guess the studios Disney and Universal were worried that this was going to be they're going to start recording stuff off the TV and all that, and it's going to affect their reruns and all that kind of stuff.
Well, so that was the court case.
They took them to court saying it was copy infringement.
But they won, so that was why you were allowed to record off TV and stuff, or?
Yeah, well, what they did was they ended up actually lost first because it went through whatever court. They lost, and then they were seeking damages and all that. But then they went to Supreme Court, Sony did, and then they ultimately won because they just said it's fair use.
And thank God they lost because they would have found out over the years that they made so much money out of the videos. Yeah. But not just that, well,
that's what they said. So what happened was they wanted then they said, okay, we lost, but we want to make sure there's some kind of a royalty coming from every blank tape that's sold.
Well,
I guess because and then they said basically was, no, you make too much profits from rentals and stuff.
What they did that back in the day was, so to buy a movie on VHS cost over $100.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was the plan, is so that no one would buy them. We'd only ever rent them for what was it, $6?
I don't remember. No, yeah.
Right, so you see,
it was like $3-4 up here, I know.
Yeah, it was like $5 Australian when I was a kid, and then by the end it was like $6 or something, maybe $10 at the end. And so they made the cassettes so expensive that you couldn't do them, but then Blockbuster would sell them off at the end for like $30. Like own the movie for the $30. So the video companies, the movie companies thought, oh, this is the end. This is the end. We're never going to, because everyone's going to be watching at home. They're not going to go out to the cinema. It's going to fuck things up. But it did the opposite. It made people rewatch movies that were out of the cinema over and over and over again, and made it possible for us now to have sequel upon sequel upon sequel upon sequel. Because it used to be like people forgot about movies. You're not going, like, imagine if they made Avatar 2, what was it, 8 years apart, 10 years apart?
At least, yeah.
2008 to 2023, right? 23.
Yeah, and so you see Avatar 1, and then the next one comes out in 15 years. You're like, what the fuck's going on? And you can't show it to the kids or anything before they go to the film. It made the movie industry bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there was like taxes, levies on that on the blank tapes and stuff like that. That's VHS.
Well, they tried. I know they did. It didn't work with the beta or the VHS tapes, but I know they did it later with CDs and stuff. They were putting the levies and stuff on blank CDs.
That was another one, the CDRs, right? Yeah, because when I first did stand-up comedy, I was like my second or third set, and this guy was recording. I remember, and I said, "Hey, I want to get my set," and he was like, really annoyed that I was asking. He was like in town from FSU, and he was just, from college. And I said, well, I'll send you I'll send you a blank VHS and you send me back a copy. He was just annoyed with me even asking. It's my third set too. I don't need it recorded. But I remember walking around downtown Miami looking for a VHS tape, and this guy was telling me $20 for 3. And I was like, in my head, I hadn't bought a VHS in so long. I thought that was super expensive. We got into like a huge argument. He's like, fuck you, get out of my store. Like to that level where I was like, yeah, fuck you too. And I went down the street to CVS and it was $20 for 3. It's exactly what he said. And I bought them. And then I went around the whole city block so I could avoid his store, because he would stand out in front of his electronics store. I avoided his store. I was like, yeah, that guy was right. Shouldn't have gotten to that argument. Then I sent my VHS tapes to this guy in FSU. Never sent him back. Fucking sad story.
Sad.
So Laserdisc.
I fighting with people in stores. It's the worst.
Yeah, but I was in the wrong.
I've got a memory of all. Like, I got most of them. I've been in the right, but every now and again, I had one where my wife pulled me aside and went, "Just calm down. It's okay." Because there was like a guy. I was in a shop, and we were late for dinner, and I was looking at something, and I just wanted to go, "Hey, look, I'll come back in a couple of hours after dinner, but what's the price of that?" Right, in the store. I just wanted, what's the price? That's all I wanted to ask. It was a watch store, right? What's the price of that? Right, I'll be back in 2 hours, right? But there was a guy like this, and what does that one do? And what is that? He was just kicking tires, and the guy was like, "I'll be with you in a moment." I'm like, "I've got this much of a question." I said, "I've just got a short question," like that, right? And then he went, and then the guy, I'm like talking like 10 minutes later, well, Paul Newman wore that, did he? Like that.
Yeah, and I already know you two. I've shopped with you, so I know you're.
And I went like this. Fuck all of you! And I walked out of the store. Right, I got, you all get fucked. And then as I went to dinner, I started to calm down. And I went, fuck. I looked like an arsehole there. Yeah. And I went back into the store. I come back a few hours later, and I've come back to the store to apologize to the guy. I want to walk in and go, "Hey, I was a bit frustrated there or whatever, and I should have been more polite, or I should have said nothing. I'm sorry." That's what I wanted to do. But he had just locked up the store, and so I tapped on the window. And he's like, "No," because he remembered me from before. And he's like, no, it's okay. And I went, I'm just through the crack. I'd like to apologize about the way I spoke to you earlier.
There's nothing worse when you have to... Remember that time we were on the road And I was really stressed out about something. It was probably something with my mom. Was when she was really sick, and something else, whatever. And I met you. It was a Gamos. And we were, and
it was when you got on the plane and you got angry.
No. This was in like Atlantic.
Different story.
It was in Atlantic City. We were waiting to go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, that's right.
And I think I was sitting there waiting for like 2 minutes. It wasn't that long, but you guys showed up late, and I was super stressed out. I was like, yeah, and I was like really angry to the point I sat down. And then
I remember this.
I sat down and I was like, "Fuck it," and I walked out of the restaurant, and I went out to the front. And I sat on a bench, and I think I called like my friend, and I just calmed down. I go, "Yeah, I just made an ass of myself," and there I was really upset about something.
I came down, and you went like this. I remember the next bit. I came down, and you were like this. So I just sat here like a fucking idiot. And I'm like, I was with my new girlfriend then, who is now my wife, right?
Yeah, I was Daisy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was with my new girlfriend, and I'm like, dude, I was literally 5 minutes late. Like it was nothing, right? Like this.
Yeah, but we've all had these moments.
No, on the road.
Yeah.
Right, but it's also, I was like, dude, I'm with a girl. They're never on time. You come at
no, it was all the other shit in my life that was going on.
She was getting her hair done or something.
It was nothing that was going on there. It was everything else in my life that I just put in this moment.
And also, it's like if you're in a casino and the restaurant's downstairs, you leave, and you're meant to be there at 7. You leave your room at 7, and then you're looking around, and then by the time you get there, it's 8:07, and you didn't fucking know where.
Yeah, but 999,000 times out of a million, I'd just be like, it was just this moment. So then I went outside. I like calmed down. Like, let me go back in.
Yeah, I remember.
Go back in the restaurant. I sit down. I'm like, hey, I want to apologize to everybody. Like, same thing, blah, blah. And I remember Tazy was like, oh, that's okay. Everyone's like, it's cool. Hey, let's get a drink, whatever. And there was some oysters in the middle.
We'd order a tray of oysters.
And he's like, have an oyster, whatever. I'm like, cool. And I reached over and I hit the water glass there, and it shattered glass and all the oysters. And I just sat there and I was like,
they were very gritty, those oysters afterwards.
I was like, yeah. I'm gonna go kill myself now.
But the waiter had seen this all happen, and I was like, he's just smashed the glass in there. If you can get us more. He's still upset from before.
I know.
We thought he'd calm down.
I literally been like, I'm really sorry, and everyone was like, cool, we're gonna have a nice dinner. All right,
anyway,
let's get back to Laserdisc.
Well, I was gonna say, I brought two things. I got so you can see Beta. There's Easy Money. Beta.
Bill and Ted's Adventure.
Hey, Easy Money, great movie.
Yeah.
Just so people can see how the tapes. Is anybody? That's Bill and Ted's.
That was when they started having the tapes just coming out in cardboard, and they got rid of the plastic. They all used to come in plastic. Then they started to go, oh, we don't need to do that. Just in things.
Oh yeah, there's the Beta versus the VHS.
There's the Beta. That's how small it is compared to the.
It's not that
VHS.
much smaller.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller.
It's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember defending Beta in the schoolyard.
Yeah.
Well, me too.
And people were just like this.
Better picture, man.
It's a better picture. It's smaller. You got these great big cassettes. And you go in the video store, there'd be 5 fucking things you could watch on Beta.
Yeah. The thing is, people I don't know about VHS. I mean, NBA. Like I watched this Bill and Ted's. I probably watched about 50 times, and you can barely recognize it now when you watch it. It's so the color's been so wore out on it, and the audio. So there wasn't a lot of shelf time either for these things. At least with Laserdisc, I mean, if you looked after them, they could last. And same with DVDs, right?
Okay,
but still have to be kind of a.
So how long could you record it
before, and I'm not going to name the girl, but I was about 13. There was a sex tape of a fairly famous Australian, right? There was a sex tape, and this is before the internet, so it was before everybody,
Nicole Kidman?
Before we, no, but close. So before there was Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton and all the famous sex tapes that may or may not have been done on purpose or by accident or whatever, and actually have made people's careers. But obviously now, looking back at it as an adult, you're like, oh, that's horrible what happened to the people if you don't want that to happen to you. But there was a sex tape of a TV presenter in Australia, right? And this had been made, so many copies of this tape had been handed around the schoolyard and all this type of stuff. You couldn't see anything. You might as well been watching it through a blizzard. I couldn't see anything. I heard a bit of moaning. But I got a very low-end quality version of this cassette. Very low-end.
I mentioned it when he died on our podcast, Screech, that I was, I wouldn't say friends, but I was friendly with him. I spent a whole week in a comedy condo with him.
Nice fella.
Yeah, I enjoyed him. But he admitted sex tape famously.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's talked about it because it wasn't the only person. But he said that he got like a penis double for the sex tape.
Oh, really?
But yeah. So it really wasn't his dick that's on the sex tape. Oh. Which I was like, yeah.
Well, we should find Jim's old tapes, and you guys are really sex tape back in his young days.
Man, that's what I'd like to have out there. I
destroyed.
I wasn't a bad shag back in the day. No, they're in landfill somewhere.
So the Laserdisc, who was responsible for making the Laserdisc? What company and what year and what was? Yeah.
Well, I guess in the late '60s that the idea was. But it wasn't 71. It was MCA and Philips was the ones that were developing it, but it didn't come out till like 76, 77. There, Pioneer had most of the stocks in the company, so they took it over. So in Japan, so it was Pioneer in Japan.
Okay. And then
purchased it.
And you were saying it was. You wrote something here. It's responsible for karaoke Laserdisc.
Well, because karaoke is what happened. Was karaoke. When it came out in the 70s, when karaoke first started in the early 70s, I was researching that a little bit. And karaoke was nice because it was the first time they could put lyrics and audio all together on a disc, right? Because you couldn't do it with VHS. You couldn't do any of that kind of stuff when it came out. So Laserdisc was one of the first that came out with that.
Ah, okay.
It was popular with the opera.
So in Japan, Japan's huge. So there's tons of karaoke Laserdiscs out there you can get.
But also, it was the first time you could hit tracks.
Yeah.
And another thing people get, like, so I'm going to show you there. That's the Slapshot one, eh?
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
But you see, they got two sides, and it sucks because, if it depends if it's a special edition, it's compressed. You only get about 30 minutes per side. You got to get up and flip it over. Then when you get that disc, you got to grab the second one. I got a Jaws one that's got 6 discs. So you got to sit there and flip them.
Oh, yeah.
So that part sucks.
That would probably be the downfall of Laserdisc.
You're going to need a bigger disc.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So what was it again? What were we talking about?
We're talking about Laserdiscs. I was saying what was the downfall, but I'm assuming it was the length of flipping them and all that crap. Why they never caught on. Yeah, why they never caught on.
Yeah.
Because I remember them just being on that side of the store, and I was like, who the fuck watches Laserdiscs? Like,
but it's now it's just kind of cool to see it, but there's so many different things. But the other thing I was they started recording on them too in the 80s. So you could actually take them, and if you had the player and you had the recorded one, you could record data onto it, just like a CD-ROM. So it was pretty cool for back then.
And the first movie that came out on the last one was not Jewel of the Nile?
Romance in the Stone.
The first one was Jaws. No, the first one was Jaws in North America.
Okay. And then the last movie was...
the last one was that Nicolas Cage one. I got it too. That's Bringing Out the Dead.
I don't even know that one. What the fuck's that movie?
That was
Scorsese.
Nicolas Cage and who was the director on that one?
Scorsese, Aaron saying. Yeah.
Scorsese, yes. Yeah. That was the last one that came out.
And then the last question here was, which major film director is known for releasing special editions of his films on Laserdisc with enhanced features? Jim said George Lucas, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's right, because he was doing all that stuff.
He loved it. He loved the Laserdisc, George. All right, cool. This is a part of our show called Dinner Party Facts. We ask our expert to give us one fact, obscure, interesting about the subject we can use to impress people. You got something for VHS or Betamax?
Yeah, well, no, I got one for Jim. Already mentions it. He was right on the ball. Was the Lucas when Star Wars came out with that special edition, when they added all the new CGI, kind of not CGI, that looked like plot. It was horrible when they brought it out, but people were upset because you couldn't get the original version unless you got Laserdisc in a digital format. That's where the actual original Star Wars was from, like, so you could watch the original. Didn't have any of that extra added stuff in there. But the Dinner Facts is kind of cool. I don't know if you ever noticed, maybe not, but probably not. I don't know. I'm just rambling. Lucas and Spielberg didn't want to go with DVD. So there was a DVD, this company called Circuit City came out with this format. It was called DVX. And it only lasted for a year, and Lucas and Spielberg were hands down thinking that's the way they're going to do it. So they're going to wait and release Star Wars on DVD, on DVX instead of DVD. And how DVX works was that you would pay $4.50, and you could take that rental home, and then you could watch it for 2 times, and then it would just go away. It'd disintegrate or whatever. How it worked with that, then you would throw it out, or you could pay more to get, so you can get multiple times, and you'd pay more to get more times, and you get unlimited times. So Spielberg didn't. That's why if you look at the Spielberg DVDs and Lucas stuff, they never came out until the 2000s because they didn't want to be part of the DVD.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm rambling there, but
no, it was good.
But that's what it was, because I remember going like, why is Raiders of the Lost Ark on DVD yet? Why isn't it on DVD? Because the DVDs were coming out in the 90s, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And there was no Lucas or Spielberg. There was no Jaws. There was nothing on DVD. And then DVX they folded because it didn't make any sense. You're gonna rent something and pay $2 or $4 for something, and you want to watch it more. You got to go pay more, and you got to go pay more.
I'm all in on Palm Pilot.
On iPod.
I'm investing in Palm Pilot. All my money in Palm Pilot.
Oh, Palm Pilot. Oh, I remember when Palm Pilot came out. That was a big thing.
Sidekick was around the same time. That's what I thought.
Palm Pilot. I believe Bono spent a lot of money on Palm Pilot.
Well, Sidekick was the cool one at the time. The kids would flipped out like slid out like that, and they go. And texting was just taking off. And then the Palm Pilot was around. I think it was around the same time. But
the Palm Pilot was around the same time as the BlackBerry. And the BlackBerry comes from what country?
I just saw the document or the movie.
Canada? Yeah, Canadians invented the Palm Pilot.
Well, Kevin, thanks for being here. Go to.
I was going to show this. Check this out. This is the Star Wars special edition. So I had to buy all 3 of them so I could have the original back. That's cool, eh?
That's the Laserdisc. That is cool about the Laserdisc, though. It's kind of like you could put the photos and all the writing, like albums and stuff. Like I do miss all that stuff. Even with CDs and stuff, I miss all that. The inserts. A lot, but
you can't get Empire Strikes Back without all the added things, and you can't get Return of the Jedi without all the added things.
On which Laserdisc? Which
on Laserdisc?
Well, I mean I bought all 3 Laserdiscs there years ago because that's the only way you get the actual original how it was made when we watched it as a kid, and with no added features.
Yeah, so
Lucas, when he did that, he released it in '97. Those movies came back in the theater, and he added. I don't know if you watched them; they were awful. Like they added, like Jabba the Hutt was not Jabba the Hutt. That was the big heavy guy walking in.
Yeah, I've watched him. Yeah, there was a big fat guy, and then they just superimposed over like a
and it just horrible. But then he
slug.
released it on VHS in the '90s, and then 2000. He didn't want nothing to do with DVD, so you're waiting, and people were pissed off because I don't want to see it. Remember at the end of Return of the Jedi when it shows Anakin?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got movies 1 to 6 on Blu-ray in a little thing that happened. There's still some Blu-rays I own that I'm not getting rid of. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm holding on to them for.
I use them. They just look better.
Well, if you want to check out Kevin Rowland's music, it's puttingonthefoil.ca. Go to the website. You can see the albums are available there. You can see some videos. And if you want to see him masturbating, maybe request it on there too. And we transfer that to you.
Yeah, I guess so. Why not?
That's between you and that person.
When those
if it makes him horny, it'll make you horny.
Jerk off to a fat guy jerking off. Right?
Something for everyone.
Yeah.
There's something for the mums.
All right, Jim.
First.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for putting out with me. Appreciate they don't do this. I love what you guys do.
You're a fun guy, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever at a party and you see someone comes up to you and they go, the Betamax machine is inferior to that of the VHS. Go, well, I don't know about that. And then slap them. Good night, Australia.